Hey guys, welcome back into my workshop. Last workshop video I made, you guys gave me some really helpful feedback. You guys said that you really like this style of video and the setting in my workshop, so here we are again. So real quick, while I'm here in my workshop, I just want to show you guys how I made this awesome little tool that has saved me so much time in crowning and polishing my frets. I get perfect results every time, and this is a tried and tested method. I've done this on about 5 or 6 guitars, the last of them being this one right here that is just waiting for its hard case to come to be shipped off to the person who bought it. But that there is the best playing bass that I've ever built, and I crowned and polished the frets using this tool, and the results were spectacular. So I'm Dan, this is Guns of Guitars, and I'm going to show you the concept, how to build it, and how to use it. Let's get started. Now this tool is to be used after you've already leveled all of your frets using your notch straight edge and your sanding beam. So once they're leveled, and a lot of them you've just cut the tops off of them to level them out, then you're going to use this tool to crown them into a dome shape and then polish them up real shiny so that you get those awesome glassy smooth pitch bends. Now again, you'll be able to make this tool yourself using stuff that you probably already have if you are a do-it-yourself kit builder. So you're going to need some scrap wood. Just about any scrap wood will do. This is a 1x3 or a 1x4, I'm not sure. My original one I made out of a 1x2, so 1x4, 2x4, 2x2, 1x3, whatever. They're all going to work just fine. So you just need some scrap wood. You'll need some double-sided sticky tape, some single-sided sticky tape, and some various grits of sandpaper. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to measure off about 3 to 4 inches of length of your scrap wood, and then you're going to cut 45-degree angles off with about 1/4 of an inch left as a flat area. And the reason why you want to leave that little bit there is so that you know when your tool is sitting perfectly flat on your fretboard, and you want it to be nice and small so that once you get down here to the tiny frets, there's still room for it to sit in between the frets. So once you've cut off those 45-degree angles and left yourself about 1/4 of an inch of flatness, then we're going to stick on some sandpaper. So just go ahead and measure and cut off some slices of sandpaper. Now when I'm crowning or polishing a bass, I typically just do 320 grit sandpaper on one side, 800 grit sandpaper on the other side, then polish with steel wool, and that's perfectly good. For guitar, I've used those same grits and have gotten great results, but for the best results, and the reason why I wanted to make another tool, not just to show you guys how to make it, but what I'd ideally like to do is do 320, 600, and then 1000 and 1500, and then polish with steel wool. And then you're going to use your double-sided sticky tape and your single-sided sticky tape to stick it on there just like that. So essentially, here's the concept of what we are doing. Okay, let's say that your fret has a nice square profile like this. Then with our tool, we're going to come in at that 45-degree angle, and we're going to start shaving it off. Now, we don't want to just make just a straight 45-degree angle on our fret. We actually want it to curve into a dome shape. So as we're doing our passes on it, we're actually going to slowly start leaning it in all the way until we come nearly parallel. And what that's going to do is create a nice rounded shape. Then we're going to flip our neck around and come at the fret from the other side and do the same thing. And so what that's going to leave us with is a nice, perfectly domed shape. Then we're going to step up through some different various sandpapers so that we can polish it down to a mirror-like finish. And I'm going to demonstrate exactly how to do that right now. Now the guitar I'm going to be demonstrating this on is my Jazzmaster kit that I got from thefretwire.com. And a lot of you guys have been asking me how this build is coming, and it's not. I've had 0 time to work on it. So as you can see, it's still just a kit guitar at this point. I haven't done anything to it. So I'm going to pull off the neck, we're going to level and crown it, and I'll show you how to use my awesome new crowning and polishing tool. Okay, so just to reiterate what I said, you do need to make sure that your fretboard is level using your notch straight edge first. Then you need to level your frets before we get to the crowning and polishing stage. So if you notice this fret right here, a lot of them actually, but this fret is the one I'm going to demo. I had to take off a lot of material to get it level with the other frets. So I'm going to show you how to crown and polish that real quick using our new tool. You do want to protect your fretboard when you're doing this. I used to use fretboard guards, but I found that using this tool, a fretboard guard is not necessarily the best thing because it kind of moves and shuffles around when you're using this, and I'll show you why. But so instead I'm going to use masking tape, which is what a lot of people do. And I've avoided it because you have to use like a whole roll of masking tape to tape off every single area between your frets. And I don't like to be that wasteful. So here's what I do is I'll just go ahead and put in that, is that even the fret? That's not even the fret that I wanted to demonstrate. This is the fret right here. And I don't bother actually putting the tape all across the entire fretboard because, again, like I said, that's pretty wasteful. So what I do is just do those 2 strips right there. Now we're ready to use our crowning tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our black magic marker and we are going to go ahead and run it across the top flat area that we just flattened out off the top of that fret. Okay. So what that's going to tell us is where the highest point of the fret is, because we don't want to take off the highest point of the fret. What we want to do is crown it into a nice dome shape. So, but we don't want to remove anything from the very top of the fret, because if we did that, then that would completely negate our whole leveling job that we just did. So you want to leave just a really small sliver at the very top that's completely untouched. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our new tool and you're going to set it down so that this bottom 1/4 inch that we left here is perfectly flat on your fretboard. Okay, move this so that the camera can see it better. And then we're gonna move it all the way up across so that we're hitting it at that 45-degree angle that we cut, right? So this is our 320 grit sandpaper, and press it right up against the fret. And we're just gonna go back and forth a little bit, just a few strokes. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tilt it in just a little bit and do the same thing, okay? I'm a little distracted because I'm trying to watch this through the view of a camera instead of just looking straight at the fretboard. So anyway, so here's what we're doing. And then as you can see, every pass that I make, I tilt it forward a little bit more. And I'm gonna keep doing that all the way till about like that. And then I'm gonna do it from the other end. So I'll just flip it around because it's easier for me because I'm left-handed to just do it with the same hand. So now we're coming at it from this other end. Again, starting with this bottom part flat, and then every pass we're just going to tilt it a little bit, tilt it a little bit more, 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 tilt it a little bit more. All right, so there we have a nice, slim, slender line. So now we did our 320. We're gonna flip it over real quick, and this is 800, but what I'd like to do is actually go back to the store and get some 600 for right there. And then on this one, we'll repeat the process again, but with hopefully 1,000 and 1,500 there. But we'll just go ahead and just go straight to 800 for the purpose of this demo, something like that. Flip it around. Same thing on this side, and again, being careful not to take out any of the top of that one spot where it's super duper thin. And going all the way forward. There we go. So now we are pretty well polished. Again, you'd want to step up to like 1,000 grit and then 1,500, but I'm just going to go straight to the steel wool. Then just polish it up with steel wool. Steel wool doesn't take off really any height from it, so you don't have to worry about if you take anything off the top. It's going to scrape off that the marker that we put on there, obviously, but there. And now we have a perfectly dome-shaped, mirror polished fret. So let's say you're done with that, you want to move on to your next fret. Again, because I don't like to waste masking tape, all I'll do is I'll just peel this up and move it over. And then we'd mark it, with our marker. Now you can see right here that we kind of wore off the sandpaper right there. It's pretty much done. Same thing on this side. And that was because that fret, again, was so bad we had to make so many passes on it. So what I'm gonna do is, before we do the next fret, is I'm gonna adjust the sandpaper so that we have fresh, clean. But typically you could go 2, 3, sometimes even 4 frets without having to do this step. But I'll just show you because it's really cool. So you just peel off our tape that we put on right there. And that comes up, and then what we're going to do, snip off that little bit that we already used, stick it back on there. Where is it? Right here. All right, so there. Now that one's fresh. Do the same thing for this side. Perfectly easy. And now we're reset and ready to go for the next fret. Now typically when I'm doing a full leveling and crowning and polishing job, I usually have to set aside 2 to 3 hours to get a really good professional job. But since I've made these tools, I get the job done in about an hour to an hour and a half, because the majority of that time was spent just trying to get the perfect dome-shaped profile and polishing it down to a mirror finish. So now, once I spend about half hour to 45 minutes leveling it, I only need to spend an additional half hour to 45 minutes crowning and polishing thanks to these tools. They get it done super fast, and they get awesome, repeatable results.